What is up, YouTube? It is Doc here, Docky Style Gaming, and I am back at it again with another Godfall video for you all today, where I'll be going over my personal build for Hinterclaw. Now, for those of you who may have been watching, you know that Hinterclaw was going to be my main at launch, and I have pretty much stuck to that. I've definitely played with other Valor plates here and there, but Hinterclaw has for sure been my main. Now, he falls into that crit category, so the damage is a bit different than some of the other Valor plates because primarily you're focusing on crit hit, but with some of the other gear that I got and some of the upgrades that increase weapon technique damage, crit hit damage, and things like that, you can still pull off some pretty devastating hits, and that's pretty much what I'm going to be showing you in this video. And the hammer is kind of crucial to this build as well. Now, you can definitely run in without a hammer, but the crit on a hammer does so much damage, it's insane. And I'll definitely be playing some clips of Ascended Towers of Trials towards the end, just so you can see how strong this build is. I always see a lot of people post their build videos, and they're always running on basic Towers of Trials, or they're doing like normal Dreamstones. I went and ran it on volatile Dreamstones. I went and ran it on Ascended Towers of Trials, some of the higher level Dreamstones, some of the higher level bosses, boss hunts, and things like that. And yeah, this build definitely shreds, especially for a primarily crit build. So if you're facing Zamora, no problem. If you're facing Grievous Sunsteel, no problem. Solaris, no problem. Thrax, you might actually encounter a problem because my god, this dude takes forever to breach. But after that, no problem. Everything else is pretty much easy as hell, especially boss fights in Ascended Towers of Trials. But without wasting any more time, let's actually just look at what my build is looking like off the bat. So when we go into my equipment tab, you can see the stats right off the bat on the side. Now, I do want to say none of the gear I have right now is primal that's on him, though I do have primal gear for it. I just haven't leveled it up because I've been messing around with this build for a while. So once I go back and start leveling up some of the primal items for one of the rings I have, and then also for one of the life stones, again, we can start increasing that as well. But off the rip, you can see that my crit hit chance is 50.1 and my crit hit damage is 218. Now, that doesn't seem like it's too crazy, especially like I said, because I don't have primal gear, and I know for a fact that you could get slightly higher. I've seen about 60% crit, and I've seen up to 300% crit damage, so you can still get much higher with a full decked out set of primal gear and augments, which again, that's not on this build, but it still gets the job done. So just think of this build being almost perfect, but again, if you just take that into consideration, how fast this build can still kill without any primal items, just imagine how fast it would kill with primal items. So the first weapon I feel like is a must if you're playing on Hinterclaw, and it's Draskull's Legacy. Now, my only real issue with this weapon that I have is that after I started upgrading it, I realized that it was water DPS. I typically try to keep physical because physical can proc bleed, and that damage over time is insane, but it still hits hard as hell because it's Draskull's Legacy, and what I upgraded in the extra perks I put on it as well. So it still puts in that work, but definitely try and get a physical damage weapon if you can, or physical damage Draskull's Legacy. The next weapon is the Visara, and that's one of the legendary Warhammers, which is crucial to doing the maximum crit damage. It's all about stacking that polarity attack, switching, and then slamming with your R2, because that damage is insane, and you can spam it and it recharges so fast because of the crit hit damage and the augments that I have equipped as well. But the primary stat is that it also gives you overhealth that doesn't degenerate, which again, when it comes to playing the Ascended Towers of Trials, can be crucial, and you'll see in the gameplay that for a while I'll be running the Ascended Towers of Trials with a maxed out bar of overhealth, and I'm just not taking any damage for the most part. Now, another substitute weapon that you could put in that honestly would be better, if I'm being real, is the Maul of the Obsidian Pact, if you can get it with that stat as well, and then something else also, because that's one of the Ascended Towers of Trials legendary hammers, and you can get dual stats on it. So the hammer I have equipped still isn't the best, but I haven't got a Maul of the Obsidian Pact with the primary stat that I'm looking for. The next item is the legendary amulet, the Amulet of the Betrayer, which pretty much just once your health goes to 0, you'll remain at 1 health and become invulnerable for 5 seconds. Now this is just a backup in case you are potentially about to die. You can easily swap to your hammer, pop your R2, and then boom, you'll be good to go because you can proc that over health and then heal at the same time. So just think of the amulet as a just in case option. Next is pretty crucial when it comes to this build, and it's the Lion's Talisman. Whenever you perform a critical hit, you gain weapon technique charge and weapon technique charge speed for 10 seconds. Now this is crucial on top of one of the augments that I have equipped, because every time you proc a crit hit, which with this build is almost every time, your weapon techniques are charging like crazy, and that's actually what makes it pretty easy to spam both the hammers and the swords weapon technique non-stop. For the rings, we have Mark of Glory, which is actually one of the ones I have as a primal that I haven't yet leveled up. The second ring is the Ruby Band, which increases your polarity attack charge speed if your might is higher than any other attribute, which on Hinterclaw, of course, is a must as well, and again is kind of crucial to doing some of those weapon technique charges and maximizing your damage, especially with the hammer. And then for the Lifestone and Banner, I'm rocking the Archon's Tear, which I also do have as a primal, just haven't leveled up. And then the Mesa's Bandolier, which is another one that's kind of crucial for this build. And then when it comes to the skill grid, you can kind of play around with what you want, but the ones that are crucial, in my opinion, to max out for this build are critical hit chance, critical hit damage, might, rampage, and takedowns. And you'll see in my Ascended Towers of Trials gameplay that whenever you kill anybody with your weapon technique, which again you can spam like crazy with this build, you'll be able to perform a takedown, and that is essential for taking out shielded enemies fast as hell, or just any enemies in general that might take a while to beat down. But for the most part, everything else on the skill grid you can kind of mix and match and do what you want with. Now when it comes to augments, these are the ones I have equipped. Now there are a couple of substitutes that you could use as well that are also really good in the might category, but this is what I personally have on my build. I'll tell you some of the substitutes at the end though. Now first we have Wolf's Fury, which if you parry you also gain overhealth as well, which is nice to just be able to stack the overhealth on top of the hammers perk. Then we have Carnage, which you get +3 crit hit damage for every 20 might adjacent augments, which essentially just pop that in the middle and you'll be able to leech off the other 2 red augments on your augment constellation. Then we have Divine Conduit, which is +50 Archon charge speed anytime you are hit, so which again is always nice as well because you can pop your Archon ability, which gives you even more crit, and if you have overhealth you won't have to worry about taking damage to your actual health. Then of course is Surety, which I'm not even going to get into. I feel like everybody who's playing Godfall has this on just about every character. Then I have Hypnotize, which is just restore health whenever you place a banner, which honestly I just keep that on for team play, but it's still nice to have whenever you decide to pop it, and especially if you're planning on rushing an enemy. Gaining overhealth along with regenerating your health as well is never a bad thing. The next augment is Endurance, and its adjacent augments grant an additional 80% vitality, which is really just more health for your character. And then last but not least is Paradise, and it's +20% weapon charge speed for 10 seconds whenever you perform a critical hit. Now again, pairing that with the gear that I previously mentioned that also increases your weapon technique charge speed on a critical hit, you'll essentially be able to spam your weapon techniques on just about every 2 to 3 hits because your weapon technique charge speed will be filling up so fast. Now some of the substitutes that you can use for the might augments in particular are Black Star, which during Rampage you aren't interrupted, which is just nice for boss fights. So whenever you proc your Rampage, again, that's why that skill is super important. You're doing massive amount of damage. Black Star also helps you spam it because again, if you aren't being interrupted while you're hitting, you'll be able to spam your weapon techniques even more. And then also another augment is Twilight Boon, which is weapon technique damage. And again, that's mainly just to help out whenever you are spamming those weapon techniques because you are dealing the most amount of damage you can. But now that I've got the boring stuff out of the way, you probably could have just watched me show all this off, but I'm going to show it off in action now. So for the rest of this video, I'll just be showing off some Ascended Towers Trials gameplay, going ham with the hammers. On one of the floors, I literally cleared the entire thing just by using my hammer weapon technique over and over again. I don't switch to another weapon or nothing. I just slam before they even spawn out of their portal and kill them. It's insane. So again, I'll let y'all watch that, but thank you all for watching. Like always, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I will catch you all on the next one, and be sure to leave a like if you like the video, and be sure to join the Discord if you haven't. Again, we have a group of people who are always playing Godfall and now Outriders, and LFGs in there as well. So if you're always looking for somebody to play with or someone to squad up with, definitely drop in the Discord, because we have a lot of players that are constantly on both of those games now. So again, that's all I really got for this video. Thank you all for watching. I will catch you all on the next one. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the subs. Peace.